live, so it must have
We're
worked.
live.
Thank God. Nothing bad happened.
I
Right
gotta
now
go.
we're gonna have a fucking tsunami. I know, like shit. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys for joining me tonight on Any Last Words. My guest tonight is Shawn Coss. You're really badass artist. You've done a lot of cool stuff, and I drug you on here tonight for Mental Health Awareness Month. But you have other things that you do that are not just
That's
mental
right.
health.
I'm
So,
not a one-trick pony.
and nobody should be. Nobody should be.
That's right.
But yeah, I guess let's get started with, how did you start doing art? Like what got you into it? What got you to this point?
Just like art in general.
Yeah.
Um, as far as I can remember, I think I was like 5 years old, and I was going through my dad's suitcase from the time he was in the military, and I remember opening up one of his notebooks, and he had a bunch of drawings of like Beetle Bailey, and I'm assuming it was pictures of my mom. It was always like at a different angle, so I could never see the face. And it was like figure drawings, stuff like that. Not like naked though, thank God. But like my dad is, he drew a lot of like wildlife, eagles, all that stuff, deer. And I was like, oh, my dad's an artist. That's kind of cool. I never knew because he doesn't really do artwork now. He owns his own construction company, but that kind of made me kind of like get into just drawing artwork. I, looked at Sunday comics all the time, so I always wanted to kind of redraw those. Far Side Comics was a big one of mine, and it was just something I picked up. Started off drawing a lot of dinosaurs, which I think a lot of boys do when they're younger, is draw big ass dinosaurs. Then I moved on to I think Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis, which I'm dating myself, was like the first colorful creature illustration that came out. And I was like, man, I want to draw like that. So I used to spend hours taking a piece of paper, put it over the Sega Genesis box, and then I would trace it over and over again. And then the next week I would try and draw it without tracing it. And I just kind of kept doing artwork. It was always just a thing in me. I don't know where it came from necessarily, because like my dad is creative in a different sense. My mom wasn't really a creative type, but she was big into like Stephen King. We lived like a couple miles away from Stephen King's house up in Maine, and we used to always drive by it and see it, which, coming full circle, I ended up working on a Stephen King film called Cell that had John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson, which if you ever see the movie, watch like the first hour and a half and then you can just stop the rest of it because they lose the budget at the end, and you can tell. But I did all the artwork in the John Cusack's character. I did all of his artwork, all the artwork that's in his apartment that Samuel L. Jackson looks at and goes to some weird shit. That's all my work, which is super cool. But yeah, I always drew. It was always just something in me. I wasn't the most popular kid in school, go figure. So Friday, Saturday nights, if I wasn't playing video games, I'd literally be drawing for hours on end. I can't tell you how many notebooks of just bullshit art I was drawing, but it was always a constant.
Okay. Did you ever end up going to school for it, or you just kind of ran with it on your own with your own method?
Funny story. Not really. It was sad. I was supposed to go to the Pittsburgh Art Institute when I graduated, and all my friends were getting their graduation presents. Everyone's handing them thousands upon thousands of dollars, and my poor ass family, like, here's a watermelon, here's a cake, and I said, hey Dad, like, I want to go apply for the Pittsburgh Art Institute. At the time, it was $30,000 a year. I think it was a year, or maybe it was total tuition. My dad said, no, I went out and bought a truck, a $30,000 truck. And he's like, that's your tuition. He goes, I need this truck to work to make money to, keep things, moving. So you got to figure it out on your own. So I was like, damn. So I went to Kent State for a little bit, for like a semester, and then didn't really want to do anything there. So I left for a couple of years. Then I ended up going to nursing school and got my nursing degree. So my only college education is nursing. I have I've been a registered nurse for the past 11 years, did 6 years in the ER. I'm currently a part-time surgery nurse or PACU nurse, so I recover people and all that stuff. And hopefully by December, I can no longer be nursing is the goal.
Oh man, that's a total plot twist, dude. You're like,
Yeah.
I would go for nursing. It's like, wait, what? What do you mean?
Yeah, if you want to see macabre stuff, go into the medical field. I've seen some shit. So I've always had a fascination with like the medical field. I wanted to be a surgeon when I was real young. And then they said it takes like 8 to 10 years of school. I was like, yeah, fuck that. I ain't doing that. So went to nursing. I wanted to have, my dad always taught me like, you can be an artist. He's like, but you're never going to make money doing it. So go to school, get a real job. Because we grew up super poor, like food stamps, almost homeless, like super poor. So my dad just didn't want us to go through the same thing. So he was like, get an education, have a safety net. And then, if your art does well, then you can always switch it, but you always have nursing to fall back on. So that's kind of the direction I went. A lot of anything that I've learned or picked up, again, I also suffer from ADHD. I can't even be medicated for it because apparently Adderall makes me want to kill things.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it makes me super angry. And so my doctor took me off of it. So a lot of it's just coping mechanisms. I've tried to cut back on caffeine, but it's not really helping.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
It's so hard. But I'll like hop on YouTube. Well, back then, it was like I'd go to like Borders bookstore and I'd grab a bunch of like the art books and kind of learn things.
You are dating yourself, sir, by saying Borders.
Oh, yeah. 38 years old.
Barnes and Noble now.
Yeah. I was around, before MySpace, like when Facebook was still just a college, like remember Facebook was just, you just put what college you went to and that was it. Like that's what Facebook was.
I didn't get into Facebook until like way late in the game because I was still like stuck on like MySpace for a long time. And then I kind of just got out of social media just because I was just bored with it. I was like, I want to read books now.
I wish my career wasn't so based on social media because
I know
I would gladly not be on social media anymore. As much as I love all my fans, I love talking to everyone. I've definitely become more and more socially withdrawn and more just staying within my inner circle. But I know the game of, if I'm trying to sell products, sell myself, be a brand, you have to be out there as the face of your product. So it's definitely a balancing act, but I can completely understand why so many like the super popular, like people who have like millions of followers are like, yeah, I just don't want to be out in public. I get it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand how people can document themselves like continuously all day long. I have a hard enough time doing it one time a day. Like, yeah. I'm cool with sharing memes and shit, like some funny ass memes, but I can't constantly sit there and take photos and do videos and be live. Yeah, not that I don't like anybody or I enjoy doing it. It's just, I can't get it.
It's work. It's a lot of work. I don't think people understand like how mentally draining it can be. Like when you have to put on like a performance, because you're literally performing every time you're putting a live video out. Even if you're acting like yourself, you're still putting out like energy that you're not necessarily used to putting out, and I had to do that with my personal brand and the clothing brand. So I'm constantly on social media, like whenever I post my stuff, and then I'll get on like the clothing brand site, and I'll take the photos of the products. I have to come up with a clever saying and post it over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So it's always a constant thing every day. Like I'm always on my phone. Like this thing is literally attached to me at all times. And when you own your own brand and you are a brand, that you don't really have like days off. It's just the moments you take breaks.
Yeah, it is. It's difficult. I literally I had what I called a mental face plant on Friday. And I just had to put myself in an adult timeout for the weekend. Like I could not touch my phone or do anything. I was just like, I can't. My brain is melting right now. I can't do it anymore.
That'd be amazing.
I was like, I just can't. I cannot do it. And just went. I was like, I can't. I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't. You guys still love me. I still love you guys. Hello to everybody who's watching, by the way. Timothy, Fabrizio, Dude.
I can't see anyone, so hi, people.
I think if you
there it is. Okay,
yeah,
I was on
comment.
private chat. There we go. My bad.
I've done that too, but then I've accidentally too at like the beginning of the show before. I forgot to change it from comments to private chat, and I go tick, 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 send, and then I was like, wait, why did that pop up right there? And I was like, oh shit, I sent the private chat to everybody in the public chat. Oh, technology is great. I love it.
I know, right? Goddamn technology.
My lord. So let's you were talking about your clothing brand. You want to talk about that a little bit? Because I think your art is dope as hell. I like telling you before we started that I'd come across your stuff like maybe a year or two ago, and I had no clue that some of this stuff was related to mental health. I just thought it was really dope artwork. And I just started following you and just watching all the stuff you had come out. You're really talented. It's really cool work that you do.
I appreciate it. It's funny is I feel like I've like dumbed down my work over the last couple of years because I used to do very intricate, very full detailed, like, so many little details here and there. But then once the whole mental health stuff kind of took off, I realized I could get more information across by using a simpler silhouette and then just portraying the message through like the story, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So it allows me to create more that way. And but to the clothing brand, so about 11 years ago, literally everything has kind of all happened at once. So I graduated nursing, started making a living, made good money. At the same time, I got hired on by Cyanide and Happiness through Chris Wilson, who's a close friend of mine, who's also one of the creators. And then that same year, my best friend that lives here is pretty much my family, says we should start a clothing brand. And I was like, yeah, sure, fuck it, why not? Let's do that too. Actually, I told him no first because I tried making clothing brands 2 different times on my own and they failed miserably. And I didn't like working with people because when I used to play music, I was always the one who had to front the cost for all the merch, everything. I never got paid back. And the first thing my friend said is, I need you to pay for these shirts in this first design. It's going to cost $200. I'm like, motherfucker, like this is happening again. But yeah, we just wanted to make a clothing brand that was shit that we wanted because we were kind of bored with everything else that was out there. Like the Affliction shirts were super cool when they first came out, but then, the MMA dads and wrestling fans like made it kind of corny. So now when you see it, you just associate douchebags with them. If you know anyone who wears Affliction, I'm sorry, you're a douchebag. I apologize.
That's like we have an area in our town where people like thrive there. So with their big old lifted trucks and like they're all like buffed out and coked out.
I always love to see the completely overweight, balding guy that says American Fighter on his shirt. I'm like, you're not a fighter. Like, you bought the shirt, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to
fighting to get that shirt on.
Yeah, right. It's like that was the fight, getting that shirt on. But yeah, we just wanted to start something different, and some of our first designs were very just terrible. And then we had some decent ones. We had like this one here. We released 7-8 years ago. Had no idea what we were doing, and like we sold out of them, and then we just kept reprinting it, and then we just wanted to keep making stuff that no one else really had or did. And a lot of these clothing brands, they don't really have like an artist working on their stuff. It's always like graphic designers who just put images together to make like a cool layout. But a lot of these brands never had like an actual artist, or they'd hire artists to do it, and we wanted to kind of be different from that. So that's been kind of like my main push, and over the last like year, that's been like my sole focus. Like my personal artwork's kind of taken a back seat now over the last 3 or 4 months because I'm putting so much energy into the clothing brand, which is something I fought for years because I was so afraid that if I put all my energy into the clothing brand, no one would know who I was, and then my personal brand would kind of suffer from it. And my business partner kept telling me, he's like, that it's only going to make everything go together and grow better. And ultimately he was right, because like the more I focus on the clothing brand, it helps grow both myself and the brand. And people associate me with the brand now. For the most part, most people still don't remember or don't know that I'm part of a clothing brand. They just assume that this brand's stealing my work. And I'm rambling. Jesus.
No, you're fine. This time is for you.
This is what I do. This is, if you get me on a topic, I'll just start rambling.
No, I do the same thing. I go off on tangents like crazy. That's why I get so excited when someone else wants to talk.
God, Lord, yeah.
But this time it's for you. It's for you. But if you guys are interested, there is the link for Any Means Necessary in the description. You guys can check that out after the show. There, like I said, really dope art. I really like it a lot. A lot of it's like very, I don't know. A lot of it has like, to me anyway, it's got like a gritty, like primal kind of feel to it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I've really tried to focus on like human emotion now. That's been very emo sounding, but yeah. I've ever since the mental health stuff came out in 2016, and seeing how people connected to my artwork on a whole different level, as opposed to like, oh, that's cool, that's cool art. Like that's one thing. That's cool when people are like, hey, dude, I love that skull you did, and that's cool. But when someone comes up to me and they're bawling their eyes out to me or pouring their soul out to me because of a piece I did, like affected them in that way, like that's a whole other level of just connection. And unfortunately, it's worn me down a lot to where it's like I've become. Do you remember? Crap.
Don't say Twilight. We already talked about this
Twilight.
Shit.
Do you remember the movie where the guy would, like, he was called a sin eater, and he would eat the sins, or like absorb the sins of people before they died? Do you remember that at all, or something familiar?
It sounds like vaguely familiar.
Right, but there's like I keep wanting to think it was the guy who played the Joker, Heath Ledger. I thought it was him. It may not be him. I just keep imagining him doing it, because there's a scene, because the guy's a priest and he walks out like this, and like, but he's called a sin eater. So he goes and does last rites, and what he's doing is absolving them of all their sins, but he's actually taking on their sins. He's absorbing it. So it's wearing him down, and that's how I feel over the last, it's been like 5 years, just because, and people send me some dark stuff. They tell me like, sexual abuse, drug addiction, suicide attempts, all that stuff, and they go into great detail of like how it happened, what was happening, and then how they, some guy messaged me, I think about a week ago, saying he was literally ready to end his life, and he was getting on Facebook to just type out like, hey, it was nice knowing all of you, blah, blah, all that stuff. And one of my, this sounds so bad, but one of my ads popped up on his feed. It had one of my generalized depression piece in it, and it intrigued him. So he looked into it and kept looking and started going through all the artwork, and just literally sent me this long message saying how like he was literally at the moment of killing himself, and then found this artwork and found someone he connected to. And I'm like, fuck, like, wow. How do you respond to that? And I'm just like, dude, and I'll get a ton of those. Not as much now, because I don't always, because for a while I was always doing mental health stuff every day. Mm-hmm. But like 2016 through 2019 was probably like just the heaviest, where I was getting some dark shit, like 20-30 messages a day. And I'm like, okay, so like maybe some of them were like exaggerating, but some of them were like in some great detail. I'm just like, dude. And I would just be depressed. I'd be drinking, trying to like forget what I'm reading, because I don't know how to respond to them. I don't know what to say, because I'm not a crisis. I'm not crisis trained. I don't know how to de-escalate. And I think sometimes there's a confusion that because I do mental health, that I'm also a therapist. And I get a lot. I get people saying like, hey, I need help. And I'll be like, okay, here's a hotline. Call them. And they're like, oh, so you're just, and they'll get upset with me. I'm like, I thought you were going to help me. I'm like, what? How am I going to help you? I'm not trained. Like, what am I supposed to say to you? I was like, what if I say the wrong thing and, puts you off the edge? I'm like, if you call these people, they are trained to de-escalate and help you get the resources. Like I'm not that person, and I've never claimed to be that person. I've become almost like a, I don't know if conduit's the right way, but like a conduit for mental health, where like I create these images to put out there for people to connect to. But I'm not trying to help anyone in terms of cure them or treat them. I'm literally I'm trying to put a face to some of these that people aren't seeing. And I think some people are getting that misconstrued, where they're like, oh, he can help me because he understands me. And it's a delicate line that I have to like, tightrope around, because you say the wrong thing and they just, it could go off the deep end, or it could go the wrong way.
Wow, I had no clue. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Wow. Dude, I'm sorry.
That's just part of it. But at the same time, on the other end, like, it's an amazing feeling to know that my work's connected to people that strongly that they're willing to just spill their beans, Yeah. I had one, I don't know if I have it up here. I had a photo shoot here a couple months ago, so I had to put up a wall of artwork for a magazine thingy. But there was one I had of, I was on my way to Austin, Texas a couple years ago for a convention, and I always try to draw something on the airplane. And I drew this one. It was a glass with a hand coming out of it. And it said, glass half empty, glass half full. Always feels like drowning when you're depressed. And one of my fans who had followed me for a couple of years had come every day. Her and her boyfriend came on Friday and Saturday, and both days, like, they had new cosplay outfits, and they're always just super happy and super cheerful, and they're buying shit left and right. I'm like, dude, where do you guys get money from? And then Sunday, they come up and they look just pissed. I'm thinking, fuck, maybe I drew them something offensive and now they're pissed off at me, because I used to draw at conventions like Cyanide and Happiness, stick figure stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I've offended them somehow. Let's find out what happened. So they come up there, and the girl's not really talking. She's kind of sit behind her boyfriend, and he goes, hey, it's like, do you have this piece that you drew? And he showed me my Instagram. I'm like, yeah, it's right here. And his girlfriend comes up, and she just starts crying. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened, and she had told me that she's a severe alcoholic, and that she's been in recovery for a couple months, but like that thing connected with her, and she's bawling her eyes out, and she's just saying how much like that she's connected to this thing. And I'm pretty callous being a nurse. I'm used to just the worst of the worst and all that stuff, so I'm able to compartment my feelings. I was bawling my eyes out too. Probably 30 or 40 of my fans who are waiting in line to meet me, and I'm bawling my eyes out hugging this girl, and I'm just like, it's okay, like, everything's good. I was like, but you gotta stop crying, because I'm crying and this is terrible, and all the other fans are taking photos of us. I'm like, can we not take photos of me crying, please? Like, it's very awkward. But I don't know if I haven't heard from them in a while, but for a while they would message me here and there, and I was like, man, like, that kind of connection's amazing, and for a second I got to feel like one of the movie celebrities, like when the fans always start crying when they meet like their favorite celebrity, and just knowing that like something you did had such a profound effect on them that it brought them to tears is like a very weird and awesome feeling.
Well, I feel like your talent is you. How do I say this? You're very good at articulating what it is that you're drawing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
visually, you're able to articulate what it is, and like, I'm just gonna say it, because I am a proud owner of some of your art.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful.
I got a story about that one. I got a very sad story about that one.
This one really, like, it really got to me. I'm going to share a little bit because, you know, that's just how it is when you meet your artist. But my older brother passed away about 3 years ago unexpectedly from a heart attack, and we were very, very close. And like the grieving still like never went away. So like when I saw this one, it was like, I don't know, it spoke to me, I suppose, like
Right.
how it, you know, in the dark there, it's like there's comfort in darkness almost, or comfort in the grief, if you will.
Right.
Like, I don't know if that's what you're going for, but that's what it felt to me. So, but it's beautiful, and I'm still waiting for my frames to come in to put them in there. So the end.
No, that one, so when I first painted, so that was an oil painting I did. Cause I don't do too many oil paintings, but that was one of them. The girl's in pencil because I just didn't feel like painting her. Truth be told, it took me so long to do Death, like the Grim Reaper. I was like, man, I'm just drawing this girl in pencil. Fuck it, and we'll just call it artistic liberty, whatever. But yeah, mourning death is like, you know, even death mourns the loss of loved ones. And I love putting emotions behind things that aren't supposed to be emotional. So like the Grim Reaper is not emotional. You know, he's just a what is it? The travel agent between life and death. He goes, "Hey, it's your time. Let's go." He doesn't care what you did. He's just taking you to your next, or it. We'll say it, not he, but like it'll take you to your next destination, wherever that may be. So I thought of, well, what if death really did feel every possible death that happened? So death's mourning literally every possible death that's ever happened in life, and something's comforting about that. So that was part of, this is where the sad shit happens. I had my first ever real art show in Chicago at the Arts Memorial Gallery. Used to be owned by a pretty good artist. Actually, he's a really good artist, Menton the Third. We don't talk anymore due to other stuff, but he's a phenomenal oil painter. I will never take that away from that dude. But they invited me to be a part of the grand opening show. So I was like, I've got this piece, and they're like, yeah, bring it out. So I decided I wanted to be there for opening night. There was like 200 or 300 people there. I got there a little late, and Catherine, who's his now ex-wife, was telling me, he's like, oh, I want you to meet this friend of mine. Her son has been captivated by this piece. Like, her son he's 5 or 6, and he walked around, looked at all the paintings, all the different pictures, and that was the piece. And she said that he just stared at 30 minutes, would not move. Mom kept saying, hey, let's go. He goes, no, I just want to keep looking at it. Just kept looking at it. And they ended up leaving by the time I got there. And she was like, oh, you got to meet this kid. Like, he is just infatuated with it. I was like, well, I'll get him a print or something. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have got to meet him. We were only there for the night. And she said, well, I'll try and connect you with his mom sometime later next week. Maybe we can arrange something to where you could get him a print. I'm like, yeah, cool. So then a day later, Catherine messages me and goes, hey, I need to call you. I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't know why. Maybe it's for an art show. And she calls me and goes, hey, you know that family I was telling you, like the mom and the son? I was like, yeah. It's like, well, the mom just called me. She dropped her son off at her ex-husband's, and apparently he killed himself and killed his son, like in a murder-suicide thing. So the day after, and she's pretty distraught. So she's like, I don't know what it is, but I think he knew something was going to happen, because he kept staring at this photo and kept saying, like, you know, I feel attached to this piece. So I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and I finally did get to meet his mom at another art show, and it was by far one of the worst experiences of my life. Like, gut-wrenching, because she was just crying in my arms. And I'm just like, I've never met this lady ever in my life. You know, we talked a couple times through Facebook, but just knowing that this kid was alive on Saturday at this art show, having, you know, amazing time looking at this art piece, and goes, I want to meet this artist, blah, blah, blah. And the next day, he's dead. And I was like, damn. So like, people always ask me like, what's my favorite piece? I'm like, it's not really my favorite piece, but it holds so much emotional weight because of the story behind it. But the story happened after the piece was finished, you know.
Right.
But it's so crazy that my meaning behind Mourning Death translated so well to this kid's passing, you know. So that, you know, even death mourns the loss of loved ones. And I was like, damn, like, I kind of wish I never made the piece, because I was like, maybe if I didn't make the piece, this wouldn't have happened. But, you know, so I've always held on to that. That's been since I think 2018 was when that art show. So it's, you know, it's been a couple of years now, but I'm just like, damn, like that's still, every time I see that piece, I think of that kid. I don't think of my meaning behind it. I always think of, you know, this life that was taken, that he kind of knew it was going to happen. So sorry to bring everyone down.
No, it's like it's sad, but it's fascinating at the same time. Like,
Right.
I know that sounds kind of morbid, I suppose, but hey, I guess that's why we're here.
Yeah, right.
But oh my gosh, and it's just, wow, that's just bizarre how that happened that way, and that's so sad.
I know, that fucking way to ruin my art show. No.
God, freaking kids ruin everything.
I know, right?
Man,
and that's what I do. I try to I use a lot of dark humor to kind of cope with a lot of dumb shit in life. So you gotta kind of have to do that. So
yeah, and it's always nice when you find someone else who does it too, because sometimes you have to be careful because people look at you like all messed up, like cockeyed, and you're like, sorry, God.
And he used to see the jokes that I made in the ER, like when we're like trying to save someone's life. I'm just cracking jokes the whole time, and they're some of the darkest jokes ever. Like if I'm doing chest compressions, I'll be like, "You think if I do this hard enough, you'll get a hard on?" Like just stupid stuff like that. But it's a lot of it. I mean, it's just coping mechanisms, you know. Because if we're not, we're gonna be literally like just ups. I mean, I think the 1 year, we had like 64 overdoses come to our ER. You know, and I was like 15 years old, so we lost more than we saved. So, you know, people always talk about like their fascination with death and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of over it. I've seen enough people die in front of me that it doesn't fascinate me anymore. It's just sad now. Like,
yeah.
So like when people are like, dude, I love death, I'm like, I'm over it. Like,
yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of people who are fascinated by it have never actually witnessed it or seen it. And then when they do, they'll be like, yeah, I don't like that. That's not fun. So
yeah, no, it's not fun, but you know, you're just like, are we done here yet?
Yeah. So I cracked the joke.
Like this shit. Oh, so tell me, let's go to a happier note for a second. Tell me about your work with Cyanide and Happiness. How did you said your friend was a co-creator of the show? That's how you got stumbled.
I met Chris in 2008, I think, in a very weird way. We were on MySpace, and he sent me a message and said, like, dude, I really like your work. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm a huge fan of Cyanide and Happiness. And after like 6 months, he goes, hey, you want to come out to Colorado? I'm like, for what? He goes, I want to just hang out. I'm like, yeah, sure. So
you're not gonna touch my junk, are you?
I know. My dad thought. My dad kept thinking this guy was gonna take me into the woods and like rape me. And I was like, Dad, I was like, I'm pretty sure I could take him. Like he's like 4 or 5 years younger than me. I'm much bigger than him, so I was like, I think I'll be okay. And he goes, well, just be careful. If he wants to go to the woods, say no. I went out there, hung out for a week. You know, we did a couple collaborations on like paintings and stuff. And then on the way to the airport, he just goes, dude, he's like, I'd love for you to come work for us. You know, we've never hired someone before, and we need merchandise. We need an actual artist to work with us because none of them are artists. They just draw stick figures all the time. And that was kind of like my first gig as like a freelance poster, like print and clothing. Did a couple of designs. They did really well. And then they hired me on like full time as like a merch designer. Started bringing me out to conventions, and then the TV show, the cartoon show came to be. I worked on the backgrounds for that, and I'd been with them for 10 years. And then January of last year, I got laid off because of budgets. Being an animation studio, they were able to keep me on for 10 years, which is unheard of. Usually they lay you off and bring you back on, lay you off, bring you back on. So yeah, my last time working with them was in February of last year, which was super scary because that was like my dominant income. Like that was paying for all my bills and everything. Because nursing has become like I work the bare minimum just to cover health insurance.
Gotcha.
So like my paycheck's like $100 every 2 weeks from there. So all my money was coming from the clothing line and the Cyanide and Happiness. But then once the Cyanide and Happiness went, I'm like, oh fuck, like what am I gonna do? And we weren't paying ourselves enough with the clothing brand at the time. But I was like, well, I can always go back full-time nursing if I need to, but I don't want to do that. So clothing line's got to work. So I just put my head down and fucking went crazy on just designs and ideas and concepts. And looking back, I was like, damn, like I would spend 8 hours a day doing Cyanide and Happiness, and then I would give my clothing brand like 2 hours a day. And I was like, no wonder we weren't successful or we weren't making any headway. I was only putting in like 20% effort. So the best thing that ever happened to me was getting pretty much let go from Cyanide and Happiness, so I could work full time on the clothing brand. And I'm so close with all of them. They sent me all this cool shit. This was my 7-year plaque thingy.
Oh, nice.
They gave me one for each year. This one's super dope. This thing came in a fucking box, but it's a goddamn weapon.
Is it a shark rad?
Oh no, it's this is my 8-year one, but it's like a giant crystal thing. They just, you fuck someone up with this thing. But yeah, like they sent these to me. I was like, dude, this is super cool. Uh-oh, now it's not going in the hole. Oh shit, I might have broke it. Whoops. No,
so you did
I don't have any shark rad. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, so you just did like the background work on most of the skit?
Yeah, so I did they pretty much had me for anything they needed. So I did prop design, character design, backgrounds. I was gonna do voice acting for a little bit, but I didn't get enough demo time in, and their studio's in Dallas. So I did a couple scripts. One got turned into animated short, so that was super cool. Like then I'd do a Comic-Con conventions and be like one of the live sketch artists. So anytime people would come up, we'd randomly draw offensive shit. That opened up a lot of doors. It made me realize that there is a career in artwork. I met a lot of cool people that way. I became friends with if you're familiar with like Charms, like Holly Marie Combs has been a good friend of mine now. Thomas Nicholas, who was from American Pie. He's the curly haired dude.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? He's in like
he was the geeky Jew one, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't mean that in a mean way. I don't mean he's the Jewish guy.
Yes, he is.
I don't know. He was white too, but that's a very distinctive thing about that person that's different from everyone else. So it's
not the one that was like, crap. Well, no, it is. I think I got that and 10 Things I Hate About You mixed up. Not that gentleman. Yes, in American Pie. Yes, that's the guy. But yeah, me and him, like we met. Me, him, and Holly met a couple of times at Comic-Cons, and we just kind of became friends of that. Mike Coulter, another one, he's Luke Cage. He's a big supporter of my clothing brand, which he's just a very attractive, fine black man. Like everything about that dude is just super smooth, and I hate him for it. I met him in person thinking like he's gonna be awkward. He's not. He's just as smooth. I'm like, damn, like he's just perfect.
You're like, oh, this fool's gonna be just like me. It's gonna be fine. Oh.
No,
I gotta go over here.
He's above so many levels. Like he's just. I don't understand why he's not in more shit. But like, have you ever seen that Evil series on CBS?
No, I haven't. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV.
That's not a bad thing. There's very few, but he's on that one. It's really cool because it's based on. He's like potential priest, and they pretty much have to go and figure out if something's mental health related or like an exorcism or some type of demonic possession and stuff like that. So it kind of plays with that. And the other person is the other protagonist is a ex-lawyer who's a very big skeptic. So that dichotomy it's really interesting to watch. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like there's very few TV shows I actually watch, but the ones I do get into, I latch into super hard.
You get super obsessed with it, and then it's over,
yeah.
and you're like, shit, what is it there for?
Yep.
This horse shit.
It's like I'm talking about that Clarice show right now. It's the Silence of the Lambs kind of spin-off thing with the girl, and there's 7 episodes. I'm like, motherfucker, every episode's captivating, and they're like just releasing them whenever the fuck they want. It's like there's no schedule. It's so irritating.
That's what I hate about, like, because the only TV I really watch is like the streaming, because my attention span is just so horrible. Sometimes I have to go back and rewatch because I know I probably miss parts. And then just watch it when I can focus. But have you seen Ozark on Netflix?
Dude, I'm burping all my pop today. Yes, Ozark I have. I love that series too. Was it Bateman?
Yeah, Jason Bateman.
Yeah, dude. That guy can act. He's such
he's been acting since we were like young. He was on all kinds of shit, and then he would just kind of like went under the radar for a little bit, and he was still acting, and then like, boop, there he is again.
Yeah, he's really good in, was it The Outsider, which is a Stephen King movie or show? That's on, I think, HBO as well. That's a really good series. Super creepy.
I have HBO Max. Oh wait.
Yeah, it's on there.
Oh, it's on HBO Max?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, add it to the list later.
Yeah, I think it's only 8 episodes. It's like a mini series, I think.
They were doing a lot of those Stephen King mini series things. Yeah.
You know, I watched The Stand, the mini series, and it got a lot of hatred, but it really wasn't bad. Like
the new one?
The new one, yeah. Like I didn't hate it, but I'm also a glutton for punishment. If it's a Stephen King thing, I'll watch it. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about that dude. I watch every Stephen King film that's ever come out. My mom has literally every paperback and hardback edition of every book. Mm-hmm. So like, even like the worst films, like Maximum Overdrive, I'll watch the hell out of it.
That is one I am not a big fan of remakes. I mean, unless you are going to guarantee it's going to be better than the first one, and don't try to do it shot for shot and shit. Like, do it right. But that is one I think I would want to see done over as Maximum Overdrive. Yeah. That was a dope ass movie for that time. You've got like this big rig with like this like distorted clowny kind of goblin face like coming at you.
Yeah, I think it was like the Green Goblin looking face. I wish it was Lawnmower Man, but the book version, the creepy book version with a dude naked dragging his dick on the grass, like it is way different from what the movie was.
I'm a sensory person, sorry.
Dude, I'm telling you, like if you ever read that story, they're just talking about somehow the guy controls his lawnmower with his mind. And he said when they look outside, he's naked and he's just dragging his penis on the grass like a snake. And I don't really know why or what the purpose of this story was, but I want that movie. I want that one.
You know, speaking of The Stand, like rewinding a tiny bit, I read The Stand when I was in high school because I grew up with, you know, kind of the similar situation. Like, you know, my mom loved Stephen King, so she had the book, she had like every movie, or she would like VH, you know, record it off of the TV when it come on. I remember reading it, and then when the miniseries came out, I was like, well, actually, I think the series came out before the book, or before I was old enough to read it. I want to say it was, but I remember
it was pretty early. I can't remember now.
I think maybe it was like 10. I think I might have been like 10 or something when the series came out.
Okay, I hope you could read a 10. We'd have an issue if you couldn't read a 10.
I know. Well, I mean, like the series. I think the series came out when I was 10, but then when I was in high school, I read the book. Like, it was a thick ass book.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, holy crap, this didn't happen in the show. This didn't happen in the show. And I started watching the new one, and I was kind of hoping that they would bring some of that in there. And I didn't watch the whole thing, to be honest with you. I didn't watch the whole thing.
2 episodes, it gets kind of like rushed, I guess. Like I like Skarsgård as Randall Flagg, but I definitely feel like they kind of like they're running out of time with some of it. But it's still, I mean, when I go to a Stephen King movie, I'm not going to watch it for like in-depth character creation and
Development.
all that stuff. Right. Now, given like, I don't care what people say, and they're gonna hate me for it, but It Chapter 1 blows old It out of the water. I don't give a fuck. Tim Curry can suck my dick. I don't give a shit.
You have to roll him up to you, sir, at this point in his life.
I like Tim Curry. I think he's a great actor. I rewatched the original It. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. The only thing that's good about that goddamn movie is him. Everything else is terrible. John Ritter sucks in it. They all suck. Like, it was so bad. And people don't remember that. They just go, "Oh, that was my childhood. That's what I grew up watching." And I was like, "Go rewatch it. Rewatch it and tell me it's still good."
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Pennywise or It or whatever you want to call it. I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I remember I liked it enough. It wasn't one that stayed like in my top 10 of everything that I must watch. But I was like, it was all right. And then I saw Chapter 1. I don't think I've seen Chapter 2. I forget.
Chapter 2 still suffers the same way as the Chapter 2 in the first movie or the original one. It's still good because they got a lot of good actors. James McAvoy obviously just kills everything he's in.
Oh God, he's so underrated. I feel he's so underrated.
He's so good, and then Jessica Chastain's really good in it. Was it something Heder? James Heder, I think his name. John Heder.
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader.
From
Bill
Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Yeah.
He plays Richie. He's good. Like, it's good, but it does have the Stephen King ending where it just kind of goes meh. But the first movie, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that movie. I've probably watched it 30, 40 times. Like, I just watched it again 2 days ago. I watched Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. I think I just love Skarsgård's version of Pennywise because it's just super creepy. And I'm a huge fan of something Finn. I think his name is from Stranger Things, but he plays young Richie.
Yeah.
I think he's just a great actor for his age. Like, he can portray so many emotions, and I feel like he didn't really get that when we were growing up. Like, kid actors back then were just like, you could tell they were trying to act.
Yeah. They're just like, I'm here for the money and the checks and the chicks. The checks and the chicks.
Did you see the Pet Sematary, the remake?
I hated it. I'm so sorry I hated it.
No, there's a couple things I liked about it, but overall I wasn't a huge fan of it. I like seeing the kids in the animal masks when they were walking.
Yeah, that was different and cool.
Yeah, I like the scenery. I like the whole idea of like they were talking about like the Wendigo. They didn't really necessarily say the Wendigo, but like you could tell like that's what they're talking about. The hard part for me was spoiler alert for any person who hasn't seen it. My oldest daughter's name is Ellie, and obviously the girl who dies in it is called Ellie.
Yeah.
And when I was in the theater, we were in Seattle at Emerald City Comic-Con, and so it was me and 3 of my other art friends, and we're watching, and I'm bawling my eyes out. Like, I have my hoodie wrapped around my face, and there's just snot and everything's on my face. And they're like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm trying to get through it." And I was gonna text my wife and be like, "Hey, tell Ellie I love her," but it was like 2 a.m. So I'm super emotional with any type of father-daughter. Like, was it Logan? Bawled my fucking eyes out at the end of it. I was literally ugly crying. I couldn't even like man up going. I was going like I was
ugly crying.
Crying my eyes out, and I'm like, God damn, am I emotional?
You are looking at people. It's like, shut up! You'll understand when you're a fucking parent.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I've never felt these type of emotions ever since I've had kids. Like, anything has to do with any type of kids. Like Interstellar. I was literally heading home tonight. I stopped at Wendy's to get some fast food, which is super healthy for you. and I'm listening to a YouTube video on like things you didn't know about Interstellar. So it's just like facts or whatever. And they show the one scene where Matthew McConaughey's seeing all the old videos of his daughter as she's getting older, and she's just like, you never called, you never came back. And I'm crying in the fucking car. Like, not ugly crying, but I'm like choked up. I'm like, God damn, I have fucking kids.
Aww.
So, yeah, I'm not a very hard exterior, dark artist. I'm fucking emotional.
Oh, man.
Goddamn train wreck over here.
Son of a bitch, I quit. You start thrashing everything around.
That's
this
right. I'm
is
fucking over it. Fucking over it.
Oh my gosh, you pick up the dog and walk out. You're like, come on.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. So, do you have any new projects coming up soon, or are you just focusing on what you got right now with the clothing line? You're busy with that thing.
Yeah. So always working on with the clothing brand, always doing something. I'm working on my first comic with my old illustrator teacher from college, which when I was in nursing school, I needed some extra credits. So I went to an illustration class where I met him. So we're working on a comic. He's writing it. I'm doing all the artwork for it. There's really no timetable for it. We're kind of just basing it around my schedule because we're both in agreement that we're trying to use my popularity to kind of push the comic out there. So he's kind of just giving me pages and I finish them as I can. I'm working on my tarot series, which
I'm seeing that. That's
we'll see whenever that comes out. I've gotten 12 cards done out of 75. So at this rate, I'll be done in like 10 years.
I was wondering if you were going to do the whole day on deck or not, because you went live and you did a live stream where you were doing the drawings and stuff, and I was watching that and I was like, oh my God, is this fool really going to do like the whole deck?
All 75. Now, I already told people there's going to be a lot of copy and paste when it comes to the swords, pinnacles, and cups. But like the major arcanas, I'm trying to get finished first, and then I'm going to start progressing because I've got so many people wanting to like buy the cards, sell them in their shops and everything. I'm like, I'm not even done yet. Like I've got 12 cards done. I got a long way to go, but if I can do like 4 or 5 a month, that'll be a good, a good pace. Other than that, I'm trying to do New York City Comic Con again. So I'll find out in October. Then I have an appearance at Grand Rapids Comic Con in November. There's like really only 2 cons I'm doing this year. Wait until like the whole COVID thing kind of figures itself out, and then hopefully in 2022 I can get back to 5 or 6 conventions. I think I'll be out in LA this year. I think we're trying to come back out. We did like a huge meet and greet, or no, it was like a fan meetup, we should say, at some arcade place, and we had like 30 people show up, which was super cool. So I kind of want to go out to LA, just hang out with some of my friends out there, and who doesn't love LA?
Right. Well, I love LA, but from a distance, about the distance I live from it, which is about an hour and a half. So I'm good. I like to visit. I could not live in LA, but I could go and stay a weekend and like hang out and see everything. But I could not live there. No, thank you.
Yeah, that'd be a little much. Yeah, a little much. Well, the fact that it takes like an hour to get like a half mile away is ridiculous. Like that takes like 30 seconds here. So
yeah. We actually went to the speaking of Stranger Things from earlier, we went to that Stranger Things drive-through experience that they had in LA about a month ago.
Oh, that's cool.
It was not cool, I will tell you that right now. I'm pissed off, and I'm going to say it. Sorry, not sorry. Fuck you, Netflix, and your little fucking Instagram trolls that stays on there and monitors your account. Because if you say anything about any kind of being displeased or there's something you didn't like about it, they take your comment off.
Oh, that's funny.
But if you reply to someone's comment, no one catches it, and then everybody can just talk about what's really fucking going on there. Because that's a ripoff.
Cool.
It wasn't that cool. It was like, I was waiting for DJ Khaled to like jump up and go, DJ Khaled remix or some bullshit, because it was a parking garage. It was actually like, I think it was like right around the corner from Skid Row.
Yes, I've been to Skid Row. That's the scariest place on earth.
Yeah, it's like I think it's in like 5 miles or something like that, and it's just homeless encampment
Yep.
and just all that. It's like it's really kind of iffy to even just drive through in a
Oh yeah,
car
we
because you
did.
never know what's gonna happen.
Our Uber driver took us through it because our friend who lives in LA goes, "You want to see Skid Row?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And the Uber driver goes, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, lock the doors." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, he's
And
not joking.
no, and we were going. It was about 7 o'clock at night. 'Cause we were going to some German hot dog restaurant that was like one block, like one street across parallel. But he went through Skid Row, and my God, I was like, "This is it." Like I text my wife. I was like, "Hey, I love you. I don't know if I'm coming back." Like this shit was scary. I'm like, "The
Yeah,
fuck is happening here?" I'm like, "This doesn't look real. Like this looks like a movie set."
yeah, it
And
does. It
so bad, so bad. Like I swear I saw someone shitting on the street, but I couldn't tell because they were just kind of sitting there.
that's
But
probably what you saw.
yeah, it looked like they were probably shitting themselves, and it's just like okay. And
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe my friend and the Uber driver are just gonna rob us or something. But
He's like, plot twist, it's me.
dude, but I noticed like he told us he goes, "I'm not stopping any stop signs or stoplights, just so you know." I'm like, okay, and he didn't. He just flew right past them. Like,
Yep,
okay.
because they'll jump in front of your car too. Like
That's what he said. Like they'll get in the way and they'll surround your car until you give them something. Like
yep,
fuck
yep.
that.
It is crazy. But yeah, that's where that Stranger Things was. It was right there. And I was like, because we went around the corner and I was like, oh, this is down like by the fashion district and shit. And I was like, isn't this Skid Row? Like, isn't this like a block and a half away from Skid Row? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the upside down right there, Skid Row.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck. That what you know what? I was more scared and believable of Skid Row than I was of that Stranger Things bullshit. You had to sit in your car, which is fine. You know, the world is how it is right now. So this was our way of getting out and doing something. But it was a parking structure, and you all got in line, like several rows of cars, and everybody's in line, and there's like a pre-show kind of thing where you get your concession, you get like cool stuff. Like I got a little collector lunchbox, and there's a stage, and everybody's dancing to like the jazzercising and shit, and they're keeping everyone entertained while the first round of people are going up the parking structure. Then you get to your turn, and you're driving up a couple of stories, and then you stop for like 10 minutes, and you have to turn your car off and your air off, and it was hot that day, and you're in a parking structure with like at least maybe a couple of hundred other cars, and you sit there and there's like all these big projector screens, and it's like just showing random clips from all throughout the seasons
Oh, that's
with
it.
like yeah, that's it, with like lights going and fog machines and like really poor, like I've seen better haunted houses in
Oh, that
Bakersfield.
sucks.
So yeah, and it was just, and we paid like $100 to go to it,
Damn.
on top of like the souvenirs and all that other crap. So and then the drive there, which took forever because the
Right.
LA traffic was so fucking bad. It took us 3 hours to get from our house to Venice Beach, which does not take 3 hours to get to by far. But it did that day because LA sucks.
Yeah, a couple of my friends did the was it Niedermeyer house thing. They said that was pretty cool. It's like they pretty much built the whole Pennywise house, and then you could go in and have a bunch of creepy shit in there. They said that was pretty cool, but that was like put on by like the movies, like the big production company. So maybe they just had a little bit more to do, and it was also like the first like big Stephen King remake in a very long time. So they put a lot of money into that. But I heard that was pretty cool. But
That sounds
yeah,
cool.
I'd be kind of bummed out if I went to a parking deck, sweat my balls off to just see like clips of a show I've already seen.
Yeah, that's why we're like, we just saw like, this is you're just remixing shit, dude. Like, you got the strobe lights going, you got the fucking fog machines. I'm like, where's the DJ at? Like, what the fuck's going on? I need my drink. I got a hot bottle of Coke I just bought from you guys for $5. Like, I need some ice, please. Mama's hot. But have you ever been to Universal Studios in Hollywood?
Not no. The only time I've been in California is for WonderCon. I think when I was in LA, or was it MegaCon? Wonder Car, one of them. And then just when we came out to LA, when we were meeting a bunch of like fashion people, we were like staying pretty much on Fairfax in Silver Lake. So I have a couple of friends out there. A musician named Sadistic. My friend Alex Party lives out there. So we really just kind of hung out with some of my friends there and didn't really expand too much. And because LA is so big, it's like I didn't know where to look for events or anything like that. So
I gotcha. Well, there's usually always something going on somewhere.
Right. That's what.
But yeah, that's what I love about it. You can't be bored in LA. It's not possible. But at Universal Studios, they do like the backlot tours where they take you around like the old Jaws set, and there's parts of Jurassic Park. But at Halloween time in October, they do Hollywood Horror Nights, and they basically like set up big scenes from the movie on the studio backlots, and you just wander through them, and they're dope as shit. Like they did the Poltergeist house, and you walk through that, and like you go through the kitchen part, and like there's like that little tongue thing that's like moving on the counter, and you can like walk up to it, like it's all there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and they use like it's all like mechanical props and like all their studio shit that's super legit. It's like one of the coolest things that I love going to is Hollywood Horror Nights at Universal Studios, and I highly implore everyone to check it out and go to it.
That would be awesome. I would totally check that out. Give me a dog. Oh, a dog wanted to come visit me. What's up, buddy?
Oh, your doggies.
No.
Aww. See, yours is cute. I've got like a big ass pit bull that thinks she only is the size of your doggy, and she's not. She's half my size.
Yeah, we just have small wiener dogs. This is Loki.
Oh, so cute.
He has teeth brushed, so his breath doesn't smell like dick. So his dick, not my dick.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Right, I had to clarify because people are like, is he talking about peanut butter? What are we talking about here?
People have allergies. So, sir, we're a couple minutes over time, which is okay. But did you have anything that you wanted to like make sure you get out there before we end all this? I've got your description, I've got the link to any means necessary in the description, so you guys can go check that out after the show and check out his merch that he's got going on. It's really dope.
Please buy stuff so I can afford to feed this dog. I can't afford it if I don't like money.
He needs toothpaste for his dog, so his dog's breath don't smell like dog dick no more.
That's right. No, I just check out the clothing brand. I appreciate anyone who takes the time to try and connect with my work and not just assume that I'm being a dick. I am being a dick, but it's coming from a good spot.
At least you're being honest about it. Shit.
Right.
Do you do the Twitch live streams often with your art?
I try to do it every Monday, but to be honest, like with all the drama that's happening with all my other friends in the streaming platform, it makes me more and more not want to stream at all. But my stream's very low key. It's for about 2.5 hours, 6 p.m. Monday nights Eastern time. I have a really dedicated art community. We have a Discord channel that like they all kind of just help each other out, and we kind of avoid all the drama that's happening outside. So it's very cool. So if you're bored on Monday nights at 6 p.m., you can come watch me doodle.
Doodle and talk shit.
That's right. Doodle and talk shit. Probably rant a few times.
That's fine. You got to give him a show, man.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Well, I appreciate you coming on so much. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate it. I haven't done a podcast thingy in a hot minute. It's been a while, actually. So it just ramble, and I guess I'll hear it back when I see a replay. I'm like, God, I just rambled way too much. Awesome.
No, I actually like doing other people's show than my own show because it feels like there's just so much pressure, even though it's just me. Like
right. Oh yeah, it's the entertainment world.
Yeah. All right, guys. You guys make sure you check out Shawn Coss's work. Links in the description. Again, check it out, and thank you for coming on again. I really appreciate it. You too, buddy. No, you too, buddy. God.
I gotta get my peanut butter out for the after hours show here.
You guys check that out on Twitch too. All right, you creepy bastards. Thanks for joining me. I will see you guys tomorrow night with I don't fucking know what yet, but I'll be here. So so I hope you guys have a great evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Bye.
Bye.